Yeah, because where there's snow, there's usually ice. I don't mind the snow, it's the ice.
Yes,
Yeah,
this should be a little bit of wet snow,
yeah,
unfortunately, as
right,
well.
yeah. Although
Oh,
around here they were saying maybe 5 inches or something, but I don't usually believe that because I don't want to. So
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, how's everybody? How are you, John Schneider?
John Schneider is doing well. How about you?
Yeah, pretty well, given everything. I've been vaccinated.
Oh, that's
That
great.
feels
Oh,
good, yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
Mariana. That's
Well, people who
fantastic.
live in, communities like mine, we got a first run at it for the most part.
Yeah,
Hello,
That's
Arnie.
wonderful. Good Shabbos,
Yeah,
Arnie.
yeah,
that's
you know,
hello.
it, the shots, we've just had the first one, and they take everybody differently, so I was expecting basically nothing because most of my friends have had nothing, but I had a sore arm and a little bit of this and that, I didn't feel 100%. 2 days later, 2 days later, it's
Ah,
very, very, it's a strange vaccination. Yeah.
I've heard that that you can feel ill for like up to a week
Oh
after.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have that. I had a little nausea yesterday
Oh,
and I know it was part of this because I looked
sure,
on the list and it said
sure.
that, that,
Hi, all. Hi, Marla.
Good Shabbos, Don. Hi, good Shabbos, Marcia and Donna and
Shabbos to you.
Arnie. Hi, it's nice to see everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Marla, how's my favorite singer doing?
Oh, I can't believe I'm your favorite singer. That is very flattering, Don. I'm doing very well. How are you?
Noticed it before.
We are oh, amazing, wonderful. We're getting pretty close to Minion here. This is quite lovely. Oh, and Ira's there too. So see, we are close to Minion. Two
I'm
for
on the side
one.
there.
You're just not in the picture, Ira.
we've
That's
had,
wonderful.
Well,
No,
the screen is small.
Max counts,
Oh,
right?
there you
Max,
go. Yeah,
Oh, how
is small
cute.
for a
that's a
moment
sweetie.
as just as we're showing our good morning slide, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
we
I'm going
can
to
count Max towards the minion.
will I
It's a
count
guy,
Max towards
right?
the Minion? No, but I will say that he's
Hey,
cute. Very cute, but no, he does
Very
not
cute.
count toward the Minion.
But we've almost never had trouble since we've gone online
No,
getting
and
minions.
actually,
Yeah,
in reality, no, we are a Minion already,
yeah.
and we oh, wonderful, and we have it looks like we have a student with us this morning too, which is fantastic.
Oh, good.
We have other folks who are live streaming, and we can see that. Hi, good morning, Berman Cutler family. Hey, Talia.
You got 12 people.
See, yeah, we do. And Talia is almost to bat mitzvah age.
Oh, wow.
But yes, we do have a minion. But if we did not, it is also the custom that you can, for someone who's about 12, you can place a Torah in their hands, a chumash in their hands, and then they too can count towards the minion. But yes, we are beyond a minion at
We're
this
already
point. So
12 according to
you
my
got
little
it. You got
note
it. You
down
got
here.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, but
Well,
we get payroll.
good
So
Shabbos, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. John Schneider is our producer extraordinaire this morning, our past president, John Schneider. So thank you so much, John, for helping to run our service. John is going to mute all while we come in, as it is 10:30, and we will go ahead and begin our worship this morning. But as we do each Saturday morning and Friday evening, at the end of our service after Kiddush,
Donna, is
We'll
that dog
invite you
Jewish
all-
too?
we'll invite you all to unmute
Ah.
at that point. So I was gonna say, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and mute everyone for the moment so that we can begin our worship. We're going to begin as we do each Saturday morning with Ma Tovu, and you will just be patient with us as we get our prayer book established and make sure that everyone is let into services accordingly. So, Shabbat Shalom. We're gonna get started and begin on page 74. Ma tovu, ma משכנותיך ישראל, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, ואני ברוב חסדך אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה לכלל קודשך ביראתך. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, אדוני אהבתי מעון ביתך ומקום משכן כבודך, משכן כבודך, ואני אשתחווה ואכרע אברך לפני אדוני עושי. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, ואני תפילתי לך אדוני תרצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, משכנותיך ישראל. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our Saturday morning Shacharit service here at Temple Beth Israel. I'm Marla Aviva Bentley, your music director, and I'm joined this morning by John Schneider, our past president, who will be producing this morning, sharing our Siddur, and helping with all the technical aspects. And we welcome you, whether you're here with us on Zoom or joining us via our live stream from our Temple Beth Israel website. We're going to continue now on page 76. Let's read in English together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorai, ata verata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata mishamra bikirbi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorai. We continue now on page 88. Elu devarim she'en lahem shi'ur, These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all. We continue now with Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, the Psalm for Shabbat, on the bottom of page 96. Tzadikata marifrach ke'erez balvanon iske shetulim bevit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun b'siva d'shinim v'ra'ananim lehagid ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabu. Page 106. Yitkadal v'yitkadash miraba ve'alma divrach ruti v'yamlich malchuti b'chaychon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael bagala u'v'izman kariv v'imeru Amen. Yehi shmira b'mvarach la'alam ulal me'almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitma v'nasi v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemid kudesha berichu lila min kol brachata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru Amen. We continue now with the call to worship on page 108. We rise and turn towards Jerusalem. Baruch Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha berachamim, uvtuvo b'chadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chokhma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita, yafa'aru chasela, or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh chulanu mehera leoro, Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. Ahava rabba ahavtanu, how deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy together. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Avad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam nevanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות ביניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 120. For us, this eternal teaching is true and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good and beautiful. The God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. God endures through all generations. God's name persists. God's throne is firm. God's sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. God's words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity. together. From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved sang praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God, high and exalted, great and awesome. God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norat ilot osef ele, Norat ilot osef ele. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חנומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We continue now on page 126 with the tefillah. We rise in body or in spirit and turn towards Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avotinu v'imotinu Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak v'Elokei Yaakov Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka Elokei Rachel v'Elokei Leah Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Koni Akol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'Neim L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ava Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magin Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Hakol Ata Rav Lehoshia Mashif HaRuach Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chayim V'Chesed Mechayei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim Sumich Noflim V'Rofei Chulim ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחי, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz kevodo. Adir, adirenu Adonai, Adonenu, adir shimcha b'chol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu Malkeinu, hu Moshiinu ve'hu yashmi'enu, berachamav le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Tzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid godlecha, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג וקוראי עונג, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שבי, כולם ישמעו יתענגו מטובך, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג וקוראי עונג, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה וראשית, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, וקוראי עונג וקוראי עונג, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת, ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, סבינו משובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת, וחנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון, שבת קודשך, וינוחו בישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדיש השבת. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato litzion. We continue together. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Alinu v'al kol Yisrael. Alinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. We continue now in silent reflection, the prayers of our heart. zimratya vaili lishua oziv 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 zimratya vaili lishua. Adonai is my strength and might. God will be my salvation. The words that we just sang together are a part of our Torah portion from Exodus chapter 15, verse 2, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. This is, of course, Shabbat Beshalach, where we read the Song of the Sea, Shirat Hayam. So we continue now with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah, which can be found in our prayer books on page 246. Ki mitzion titzei Torah, ki mitzion titzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim, se'u she'arim rashechem, u'se'u kichei olam, yavo melech hakavod. Mihu zemelech hakavod, Adonai tzvaot, hu melech hakavod. Selah. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kiddushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachtav, lecha Adonai agdula, v'gvura v'tiferet, v'nitzach v'hahod, ki v'shamayim u'v'aretz, ki v'shamayim u'v'aretz. Lecha Adonai הממלכה, ועמיד נשיא לכל ראש. על שלום shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. על שלושה דברים. על שלושה דברים. על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. Last week, after the 10th plague, Pharaoh released the Israelites, and in haste they left Egypt for the wilderness to worship Adonai. This week in Parashat Beshalach, our story continues with God sending the Israelites not toward the land of the Philistines, which would have been a closer route, but toward the Sea of Reeds. We also learned that as promised, Moses brings the bones of Joseph out from Egypt. As the Israelites travel, God appears before them by day in a pillar of cloud, and by night as a pillar of fire to lead them safely. Then God instructs Moses to tell the Israelites to make camp just before the Sea of Reeds. Quote, "And I shall toughen Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, that I may gain glory through Pharaoh and through all his force. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord." Pharaoh and the Egyptian army pursue the Israelites, and when they come upon them, the Israelites cry out in fear. Moses reassures him. Then God has a plan. God, appearing as a pillar of cloud, moves between the Israelites and the Egyptians, while Moses raises his staff and spreads his hands across the sea. And God splits the sea so that the Israelites may walk through on dry land. Then God urges the Egyptians to pursue them into the sea, all of Pharaoh's army, chariots, and horses, and God closes the waters around them, and not one survives. The Israelites, having safely moved across and witnessing the destruction of their enemies, now put their trust in Adonai and his servant Moses. Moses begins singing, and all of Israel joins him in the Song of the Sea, Shirat Hayam. This song is beautifully illustrated across the physical Torah scroll. In the text, it appears like waves. They sing of God's power and might, including the words, Mi chamocha ba'ilim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Who is like you among the gods, O Lord? Who is like you, mighty in holiness? Then Miriam the prophetess, Aaron and Moses' sister, took up her timbrel, and she led the women in song and dance. As the Israelites continued their journey, their trust in God waned. They complained about the lack of water and food. God then provided quail in the evening, and in the morning, manna. God instructed the people on what it was and how much they should take, exactly one portion, or omer. Not everyone followed the instructions, and Moses was angry at the people for disobeying God's orders. On the 6th day, they gathered a double portion of bread, 2 omers per person, and Moses spoke to the people. That is what the Lord has spoken. A day of rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord is tomorrow. What you bake, bake, and what you cook, cook, and whatever is left over for yourselves to be kept until morning. They did so, and then Moses continues, quote, eat it today, for today it is
a Sabbath to the Lord. Today you will not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, and on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will be none then. Some of the Israelites still did not obey the instructions. So Moses told the people they were not to work on the Sabbath, that they were all to rest on God's day. The people called what they gathered manna, or manna, as some people pronounce it, and God instructed Moses and Aaron to place a full omer of manna into a jar to be kept as a symbol for what God did for us in the wilderness. The Israelites ate manna for all the years they wandered in the desert until they came to Eretz Canaan. As the people journeyed according to God's plan, they again complained of the lack of water. So God asked Moses to gather the elders of Israel and to stand before a rock in Horeb and to use his staff to strike the rock, and water would flow forth. This morning, we read at the end of the Parsha about the attack of the Amalek against the Israelites at Rephidim. Moses tasks Joshua with taking men to battle the Amalek. Meanwhile, per God's instructions, Moses ascends a hilltop, and with God's power, he helps the Israelites prevail over the Amalek. Moses lifts his hands and his staff, and that is how the Israelites prevail. But Moses begins to tire from lifting his staff and the power flowing through his hands. So Aaron and Hur come and surround him and support him up on either side until the sun sets. Joshua's fighters were victorious. Then God says to Moses, quote, "Write this down as a remembrance in record and put it in Joshua's hearing, that I will surely wipe out the name of Amalek from under the heavens." Moses then built an altar to God and named it Adonai Yisi, the Lord is my banner. And he said, "For hand upon Yah's throne, war for the Lord against Amalek for all time." Of course, we hear the words Amalek, and we think of the holiday that is to come at the end of the month of February, Purim, because we know from the beginning of the reading of Megillat Esther, of course, that we can trace Haman back to the Amalek, which is why we blot out his name at Purim. But not to worry, we'll remind you of our Gregors and how we do that in a short month's time. But in the meanwhile, we continue now with the Shavi'i reading for this morning, as we have been doing each Saturday during this 5781. Will you join me in the blessings for Torah? Baruch et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Amen. Ooh, I'm stuck. One moment. Position myself so I can hold the Torah and read it at the same time. Amen. V'haya כאשר ירים משה יד וגבר ישראל, וכאשר יניח ידו וגבר עמלק, וידי משה כבדים, ויקחו אבן וישימו תחתיו, וישב עליה, ואהרון והחור תמכו וידו מזה אחד ומזה אחד, ויהי ידיו אמונה עד בוא השמש, ויחלו שהושע את עמלק ואת עמו לפי חרב. ויאמר אדוני אל משה, כתוב זאת זיכרון בספר, ושים באוזני יהושע, כי מחו אמחה את זכר עמלק מתחת השמיים. ויבן משה מזבח, ויקרא שמו אדוני ניסי. ויאמר כי יד על כסייה מלחמה לאדוני, מלחמה לאדוני בעמלק מדור דור. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. Amen. In the midst of our joy of reading from Torah this Shabbat, we think of those whose joy and celebration is diminished due to illness. This week, we particularly think of Sheldon Cohn, Wayne Silverman, Alan Sporn, Andrew Bider, Esther Mendelson, Ronald James Sullivan, Dennis Gelbart, Seema Tolchinsky, Karen Zandy, Jason Edward Zimmerman, Michael Ben Mindel, Sandy Rubin, Diana Binder, Elise Langenfield, Chana Devora Bat Ita, Chana Fagel Bat Yenta, Asher Gedalia Ben Malka, Shelley Stone, Sheila Lambie, Dale Rubenfeld, Howard Rubenfeld, Elena Klein Angus, Adam Brodsky, Alana Miriam Bat Chava, Johanna Fine, Fred Siegel, Debbie Geisfeld, Georgios Lossoff, Joel Greenblatt, Aviva Goldman, Elaine Morgan. In addition to these thus named, we think of others of whom we know who are in need of healing, whether healing of body or healing of spirit. We pray they will soon know a refuah shlema. מקור הברכה לאימותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Let us rise. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. Hu
Our Haftarah this morning comes to us from the book of Judges. It is the Song of Deborah. The sages, when pairing selections from Nevi'im, from prophets, to exemplify something from our Torah portion, thought in their wisdom that as our Parsha talks about the Song of the Sea and depicts the Song of the Sea, this, the Song of Deborah, would be a wonderful corresponding Parsha to consider them. However, I will say that it is more than 7 pages, and so this morning we will read selections from this Parsha, beginning on page 703. We're reading in Judges, beginning with chapter 4, verse 4. When we begin to make some cutting, I will let you know how we move from verse to verse. But we're going to begin on page 703 of the Plaut Torah commentary. Again, Judges, beginning with chapter 4, verse 4. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Devorah, or Deborah, wife of Lapidot, was a prophetess. She led Israel at that time. She used to sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites would come to her for decisions. She summoned Barak, son of Avinoam of Kedesh in Naphtali, and said to him, "The Lord, the God of Israel, has commanded, go, march up to Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zvulun. And I will draw Sisera, Jabin's army commander, with the chariots and his troops, toward you up to the Wadi Kishon, and I will deliver him into your hands." But Barak said to her, "If you will go with me, I will go. If not, I will not go." "Very well, I will go with you," she answered. "However, there will be no glory for you in the course you are taking, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman." So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak then mustered Zvulun and Naphtali at Kadesh. 10,000 men marched up and down after him, and Devorah also went with him. Now Chaver the Kenite had separated from the other Kenites, descendants of Chovav, father-in-law of Moses, and had pitched his tent at Alon Betza'ananim, which is near Kadesh. Sisera had informed that Barak, son of Avinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. So Sisera ordered all his chariots, 900 iron chariots, and the troops he had to move from Haroshet Goyim to the Wadi Kishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Up, this day on which the Lord will deliver Sisera into your hands. The Lord is marching before you." Barak charged down Mount Tabor, followed by 10,000 men. And the Lord threw Sisera and all his chariots and army into a panic, because before the onslaught of Barak, Sisera leaped from his chariot and fled on foot. As Barak pursued the chariots and the soldiers as far as Harosh, that's why I have to read them in Hebrew, as far as Haroshet Hagoyim, all the Sisera soldiers fled by the sword. Not a man was left. Sisera, meanwhile, had fled on foot to the tent of Yael, wife of Chaver the Kenite.
for there was friendship between King Yabin of Chazor and the family of Hever the Canaanite. Yael came out to greet Sisera and said to him, "Come in, my lord, come in here, do not be afraid." So he entered her tent, and she covered him with a blanket. He said to her, "Please, let me have some water, I am thirsty." She opened a skin of milk and gave him some to drink, and she covered him again. He said to her, "Stand at the entrance of the tent. If anyone comes and asks you if there is anybody there, say, 'No.'" Then Yael, wife of Chaver, took a tent pin and grasped the mallet. When he was fast asleep from exhaustion, she approached him stealthily and drove the pin through his temple till it went down to the ground. Thus he died. Now Barak appeared in pursuit of Sisera. Yael went out to greet him and said, "Come, I will show you the man you are looking for." He went inside with her, and there Sisera was lying dead, with a pin in his temple. And on that day God subdued King Yavin of Chazor before the Israelites. The hand of the Israelites bore harder and harder on King Yavin of Canaan until they destroyed King Yavin of Canaan. Chapter 5. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Avinoam, sang. When locks go untrimmed in Israel, when people dedicate themselves, bless the Lord. Hear, O kings, give ear, O potentates. I will sing to the Lord, will hymn the Lord, the God of Israel. O Lord, when you come forth from Seir, advanced from the country of Edom, the earth trembled, the heaven drips, yea, the clouds dripped water. We continue now on the next page with verse 12. Awake, awake, O Deborah. Awake, awake, strike up the chant. Arise, O Barak, take up your captives, O son of Avinoam. Then there was the remnant made victor over the mighty. The Lord's people won my victory over the warriors. From Ephraim came those whose roots are in Amalek. After you, your kin Benjamin, from Mechir came down leaders. From Zvulun, such as holds the marshal's staff. And Issachar's chiefs were with Deborah. As Barak, so was Issachar, rushing after him into the valley. Among the clans of Ruvain were great decisions of heart. We continue on the next page with verse 23. Curse, Meroz, said the angel of the Lord, bitterly curse its inhabitants, because they came not to aid the Lord, to the aid of the Lord among the warriors. Most blessed of the woman be Yael, wife of Hever the Canaanite, most blessed of woman in tents. He asked for water, she offered milk. In a princely bowl, she brought him curds. Her left hand reached for the tent pin, her right for the workman's hammer. She struck Sisera, crushed his head, smashed and pierced his temple. At her feet he sank, lay outstretched. At her feet he sank, lay still. Where he sank, he lay destroyed. Through the window peered Sisera's mother. Behind the lattice she whined. Why in his chariot so long in coming? Why so late the clatter of wheels? So the wisest of her ladies gave answer. She too replies to herself. They must be dividing the spoil they have found, a damsel or two for each man. Spoil of dyed cloth for Sisera, spoil of embroidered cloths. A couple of embroidered cloths round every neck as spoil. So may all your enemies perish, O Lord, but may his friends be as the sun rising in might. And the land was tranquil for 40 years. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים, ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת, על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדיש השבת. We continue now on page 256. On page 256, we rise as we return the Torah to the ark. Yahallelu et Shem Adonai. Ki nizgav shemo levado, hodu al-eretz v'shamayim, v'yorem geren le'amo, tihila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael, am kerovo. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We continue now with a prayer for our country on page 258 at the bottom. We join together. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen. We continue on the following page with a prayer for the state of Israel. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu. Hagein aleha be'evrat chastecha, ufros aleha sukat shlomecha, ushlach orcha v'amitcha, lerasheha sareha v'yoatzeha, v'taknem be'etza tova milfanecha, v'natata shalom ba'aretz, v'simchat olam li'oshveha, v'nomar. Amen. We continue now with the concluding portion of our worship with Aleinu at the bottom of page 282. We rise in body or in spirit and incline our hearts towards Jerusalem. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latit gdulat leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goralenu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai v'nemar v'haya Adonai
Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad ushemo echad. Page 295. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own zichronam livracha. We reach out with words of comfort and sympathy to our member, Mark Raven, and his family on the recent passing of his brother, in whose memory we now pray. O God, full of compassion, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest under the wings of your presence to Jonathan Raven, our loved one who has entered eternity. Master of mercy, let him find refuge forever in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The eternal God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We call to mind those whose yortzites are observed now on this Shabbat. Carol Beth Abrams, Zemor A. Ader, Eve Ager, Meyer Ehrenberg, Belle Bernstein, Chuck N. Bloom, Marie Borak, Kenneth Leo Konyak, Sylvia Cohen, Rebecca Daar, Milton J. Fink, Seymour Fishkin, Ann Lerner Fox, Ruth Gilbert, Arlene M. Glazer, Benjamin Greenberg, Gussie Herman, Lynn F. Hirsch, Florence J. Cantor, Rebecca Katz, Gary Kolb, Rose L. Korn, Howard Levinson, Celia Lossoff, Mikhail Veniaminovich Milstein, Nathan C. Niederman, Mel Rogoff, Grace Seidenfeld, Barbara Sporn, Fred Starkman, May Wilkins, Layla Wolf. To these thus named, we add memories of dear ones not now mentioned by name, but cherished in their mourners' hearts, as all those who mourn now rise for Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam ulmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei d'kudusha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. V'imru, 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 Amen. V'imru, 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 Amen. Shabbat Shalom. We will conclude by making Kiddush.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. שבת שלום.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Alice. Have a
Shabbat
nice weekend.
Shalom. Have a great day.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.